Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Regents Podcast. Just, if you're listening, you're not getting to witness the beauty that is my hair right now. It is,
Beautiful
look at
with
like
this.
literal
Waves.
ringlets.
Oh,
Wait,
okay,
well, waves.
right.
Yeah, waves.
I mean, this is a ringlet.
It's my equivalent of a ring. It's my equivalent of a ringlet. But like, do you
Ellen
see?
ringlets.
Do you
I
see?
see. And you didn't have to do a thing for that, right?
No. Well, okay, so what did I do this time? This time I just like twisted it
Okay.
like when I got out of the shower and kept like a microfiber towel on it while it was drying,
Oh, okay.
which helped with the frizzing around the crown because I was getting like a lot of bad
Yeah.
frizzing. And I'm just like trying to figure out like I just can't, I don't know, it's getting like greasy. Sorry, I muted myself. It's getting greasier earlier
Mm.
than I'm ever been used to before. I used to be able to go like a week without washing my
Yeah.
hair, and now I can't go like 4 days. And I don't
That's a lot.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's like a lot of washing. I
True.
just feel like that's
Yeah.
horrible.
The work that
So
takes.
I try to like brush the oils through my hair.
Oh,
You know, I try to like dry shampoo. I try to like not touch my hair at the root. Like I don't ever want to put my fingers on
okay.
it to transfer oil. So I'm doing a lot of things, but
Science.
science.
Ooh,
And I
yeah.
tried to put not put any conditioner at my roots. Um, to prevent like buildup there. So that's why I like dried my hair with a microfiber
Yeah.
towel because I didn't have the conditioner to keep it like soft at the root. So
Okay.
we'll see. I mean, it does look pretty frizzy from where I am right now, actually,
Hmm.
but it's day Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so it is the fifth day. So it
Oh,
is
so
like,
we're pushing it now.
yeah, you see, it's kind of
It doesn't look
not
that way.
great.
It
Oh,
looks
thank you so much. I
gorgeous,
appreciate that.
darling.
Thank you so much. I
Yes.
appreciate that. I'm just on the lookout for an email, so excuse me if I'm like constantly
Checking your phone.
checking my
Okay.
phone, but it's
Don't
perfect
apologize to me.
timing.
Apologize to all of the listeners and the watch.
Sorry
Sorry, I'm
everybody
not
who's
really
listening and
here. No, I'm
watching,
just kidding.
but there are opportunities coming in via email this
Hello.
morning that I am very excited
I
about that
love
I would
that.
love to have come to fruition.
Yes. Girl.
So that's why that's kind of what I want to talk about because we've been doing this podcast for a little while
Mm-hmm.
now. And we've been saying like, what are we, how are we progressing? What are we doing to like build ourselves up, build our business, build sustainable lifestyle
Yes.
changes? And I think we're starting to see the fruits of our labor, come back and come in. And I think that it's always like a good thing it might be hard
Mm-hmm.
sometimes for some more than others to like celebrate
Yeah.
wins. You know me, I don't like to talk about anything. My sister on the phone this weekend, I was telling her about something like good that just came
Yeah.
through for like a business stuff. And she was just like, I swear, we're going to find out that you won like an Academy Award, like from you
On
on
TV.
stage, like
Right.
accepting it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like we wouldn't even know that you were even
Oh my
going.
gosh. That
You
you were
just
even
don't tell anybody
nominated.
anything. Yeah. She's like, you don't tell anybody anything until like after the
Mm-hmm.
fact. And I don't know if that's just me like not trying to like jinx
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
count my chickens before they hatch. I don't know. I like
Oh, that's gonna
what's that
be
phrase of just like kind of like I just like moves in silence,
real
like
G's moves in
real G's.
silence. Lasagna? Is that what we're
That's the
going here?
lyric I was thinking of. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
I don't know. I just try to keep it tight, keep it quiet. I just like let things happen.
yeah.
I don't know. Do you do that
Yes.
too? Yeah. Why do we do
I
that?
think, well, I don't know. I guess I'm like
Yeah.
even something on my end too that's like brewing or
Yeah.
whatever. I won't say anything until it's confirmed. And I guess a
Well,
part of
yes.
that is
Yes.
wanting to make sure that, you know, things are confirmed, one,
Oh,
you know.
100%.
And I don't know, I guess, the things that are like super important to us or really big in our eyes. You don't want to like open up your heart to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we'll
Yeah.
just keep it here for now. And then
Yeah.
everyone will find out. Eventually.
Eventually, right? I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with like, I don't know. I think a lot of people have a lot of things to say,
Mhm.
and maybe I'm just trying to like protect. If it's something I'm excited about, I'm just like trying to protect
Yeah.
it. Of like, I mean, I even do it in other aspects of my life, like
Right.
dating, relationships. Like, I'm just very like quiet about stuff until there's something to say. I'm not just gonna like say it.
Exactly. And I
You
was
know?
thinking when you asked me like, why do we do that? I was going to say I think what most people would say is exactly what you just said. That's a riddle.
Yeah,
It's trying to like field people's opinions or comments or whatever. But when I think about it, most times for me, it's not that. It's not really because I think,
yeah,
the things that I get excited about, anyone who supports me and, is rooting for me would also be excited about. But it's
yeah,
just, um, I think it's a testament to the type of people that we are. We're more like
yeah,
private to the things that are like private. If it's something that has
yeah.
to do with our business or our personal lives, it's like I'm not shouting it from the mountaintops until I need to. And whatever I want to shout it's going to, well, for me, maybe it's more calculated, just because
Mm,
I'm just that type of person. I keep things close to the chest. I share it with my
yeah,
close inner circle, and that's it, unless it needs to be
yeah.
chanted and shouted.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a
No.
good thing to keep things like close to the
Yeah.
chest. I also think, something I was talking about with a friend about, what do you share online? Like, what do
Mm.
you share with friends? Like, what do you put? And she had said something where she didn't want to, what was the phrasing she used? She didn't want to like tell too much of her story because it felt like it was, what was the word she used? I had wrote it down because I was like, wow, that's actually like so, where did she, where did she, oh, self-exploitative.
Oh.
We're very
Hmm.
conscious of not exploiting others and very conscious of not exploiting, you know, just like the way that the world and business and everything has exploited so many of us and
Mm.
so many different like pockets of our
Yeah.
culture. And what she said about like, I don't want to be self-exploitative. And I was like, oh, that's actually a really interesting thing to think about in today's society when
Mm.
we're posting everything and anything on social media, sharing all of our story. And I'm like really uncomfortable with sharing myself or my
Mm.
story and like things about myself on social media, which is crazy because like when I did like we do this and this is
Yeah.
vulnerable. I did Ellen with a Y and that was tremendously vulnerable. And I just feel like I don't know, maybe I'm in like a different headspace right now where I'm just being a little bit more like I would say
Careful. Yeah.
cautious or just careful about what I'm sharing
Mm-hmm.
online. Not about like back when I was younger, it was like someone's gonna come to your house and kill you,
Not
you
sharing
know?
my dress. Okay. But
Yeah, exactly. It's not so much
yeah.
that as it is like as it is, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know if I'm like ready to open myself up to all of that on the internet.
Right. Right.
But
But
so
that's a
anyway, I want to,
lesson.
oh, sorry, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say that's a lesson in your microphone's picking up everything.
So sorry, I'm drinking water.
For everyone wondering what that is. No, I look at like Beyonce, right? When she
Hmm.
everything is always a lesson. When she was first, becoming Beyonce, a superstar, she was
Yeah.
and she still is like super secretive. Obviously what
Yeah.
you need to know, and anything, personal or whatever, she just keeps that under wraps. And I remember this interview that she did with Oprah, and she was like, someone taught me in my, I think she might have learned it from Oprah, something like that. But she just said, I learned
Yeah.
that you have to keep certain things like to yourself for it to feel like
Yeah.
it's your own, you know? And I think in
Mm.
this day and age where we can share absolutely everything of our life, every detail, people can know what we're eating today, where we're going, like who we're with, whatever. It's just, it's nice to have some things that are, not everybody knows. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
keeps something for you. Um,
I know. And I like the idea of like things are happening, things are percolating, things are bubbling, and like people don't know. And then when
right.
it's like time to tell people, they're like, what the heck? Oh my God. Like when we launched the podcast, it wasn't like we were telling everybody
No.
about the podcast. It just was like something we wanted to do. We started doing it
Yeah.
ourselves. We posted it. It's so funny because we are both very similar in that
Right,
regard.
right.
And imagine if one of us wasn't and one of us was like,
Like, ugh, hold
wanted
on.
everybody in and like
Right.
told all the people exactly. It was like launch it the first week we started it,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly.
It's good that we're in a similar headspace
On
of
that
like,
tip, for
yeah.
sure.
It's like quiet, I don't know, you know how the new phrase of like quiet luxury is in the world
No, I'm not
about
familiar with
like,
that.
oh, okay, so quiet luxury is basically like it's not labels, but it's lux. Things are
Mm.
expensive, things are fancy, it's things that you wouldn't even know what they are because you can't like tell.
Okay, yeah.
And then it's just like
Right,
she.
right, right. Okay.
But for us, it's like quiet hustle.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're being refined and we're being, and
Yeah.
we're growing and all of that behind the scenes. And we want to make sure that we share what we need to because that's the purpose of this
Yeah.
podcast.
I think there's also something about like I don't know, I see a lot of people posting on social
Yeah.
media about like every step of the way through their day and through their hustle of like I'm going here, I'm doing this, now I'm planning my calendar, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And it's
Hmm.
like it almost seems like it's like pressure
Mm,
to perform the act of doing things.
mm.
Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, what am I? I'm not gonna like record myself writing on my whiteboard every morning, like
What my
what my
goal
plan
is.
for the day
Right,
is.
right.
Yeah, like what my goal is,
Yeah.
and like how I'm like working through my
Hmm.
day and how I organize myself and organize my days and like I don't know. There's just like a level of like I don't want to put pressure on other
Yeah.
people
Right.
either. I don't want other people to be
I
like,
got to do it
wow, because
exactly.
I hate I hate that. I hate when people come to me and be like, oh my God. Like when I was doing like the
Hmm.
most during my refinery days of like, I had a lot of different brand deals going on, brand opportunities. Let's say that. I wasn't like, they weren't coming to Ellen with a Y, but it was like I had a lot of different brand opportunities.
Hmm.
I had my show going, I had a lot of really cool guests. Like I did have a lot was happening. I was doing some stand up on the side. Like there was a lot
Yeah.
happening, a lot of irons in the
Hmm.
fire. And I always felt like I didn't love it when people would come up to me, like people that are like not inner circle, but like around me close
Yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're doing so much. Like it's so exciting. You're like this, you're like that, like da da da. I'm like, please don't like think that this is anything fancy or she or that I'm getting invited places or like I just don't ever want anyone to like feel like I'm putting something out that would like
Mm.
I don't know. I can't control how other people
I was
receive me
just
and
going to
receive
say
what I'm
that.
doing.
Yeah.
That's a really big part. And I actually shouldn't edit myself based on how I think other people are going to
Right.
receive it. But I also don't want people to think that I'm like doing things in a performative way or doing things in a way to like make people be like, oh, look at what she's
Right.
doing. Do
Right.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which is so the opposite of being on social media and doing content.
But we do social media the way we want to do social media.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a part of that probably is humility. Like you're not trying
Mm,
to, like, I don't want to say that I'm doing this. It's so huge. And I know that's like, I don't want people to think that I'm high on myself or anything like that.
yeah.
It's a part of just being truthful about what it is that
Mm,
you're working on and towards. But just kind of overcoming that that type of humility because there's humility and then
yeah.
there's also like, okay, well, if you're gonna be getting an Academy Award, Ellen, like you should be proud of that. You should say it. It's your life's goal. Like, like
Yeah.
there's, and I think people battle with that in a lot of regards. It's just like, oh, I don't want to. It's like
Yeah.
fake humility almost. It's like, no, you do want to
Mm,
say it because that's great. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um,
You'll only find out that I'm like dating someone when I'm engaged.
Listen, listen. I know about that. It was
Yeah.
very, I'm super private. Like I really, really
Yeah.
am. And I don't really know, I guess, I don't feel the need to like analyze it too much because I don't think, like you
Mm,
mentioned before, I don't think it's wrong. It's just how some people want to live their lives. And it's like, I like to
yeah.
keep the things that are super, my relationship and my marriage and my close friendships and the things that we talk about are personal, and it's
Mm-hmm.
intimate and it's super fulfilling and it's not for the world. You know what I mean? It's for our experience, our shared experience. So,
Yeah.
and the same thing goes for anything that's meaningful in my career. It's like this is not light. This is my purpose. Like this is the
Yeah.
path that I'm on that I feel God has put me on. So, yeah, I'm going to be particular about who I let in on the innermost things and how I'm
Yeah.
working stuff or questions that I may have or doubt or whatever it is. So,
So do you want to tell everyone everything you're working
yeah,
on
here we
now?
go. So tell us.
Well, it's
What's
like,
the script?
yeah, right. It's like those when people are like online or posting about like, oh, I've got like all this really exciting stuff coming up. Like I can't wait to tell you guys about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's too I know I can't say anything about it right now, but like I've got some really
Also
exciting.
kind of
It's like
annoying.
just don't say
Yes,
anything.
exactly. If you can't, then don't. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say like, I'm working on a lot of exciting stuff and I'm really excited about what's happening in my life right
Yeah.
now, but I think that if it's like I'll tell you later or like you'll have to like it's like
Just
just
tell us later
stop.
when you can
Just stop.
actually
Just
say
say I've got a lot of exciting stuff going on right now and I'm really excited about my life. I'm excited with things I'm working on.
and
Just
done.
enough.
Right.
Yeah. Like, oh, I can't tell you who I just had a call with, but it's going to be so exciting. In
In that
six
same
months, I
voice,
can tell
too.
you about this limited edition product that I'm collaborating
With one of the world's
on. It's
biggest
going to,
companies. You guys
yeah,
won't believe. Oh my gosh.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, but that's a
I don't
part
know.
of kind of like that's that pressure. And again, we have no
Mm,
control of how people perceive and receive whatever it is that we say, but it's almost like it's too much. Why are you doing this?
yeah,
You're trying to make it so
yeah.
exclusive and so whatever about you. We're excited for you.
Hmm.
Don't get me wrong. That's great. But on that
Yeah.
same regard, it's just like people don't need to know that until you can actually say something and we can be excited about whatever it is that we're excited about. Just what are you even saying? Why are you even wasting
No, that's the
time?
thing. You're just saying
Not
nothing. You're not
saying
saying
anything.
anything.
Like it's a
Yeah.
waste. So,
It's so
yeah.
silly. Right, Ellen? Oh, she's so cute just sitting on my bed like that. Yo. Should I just turn I'll just turn the
Show
camera
me,
really quick so you can
please.
see. Show the world.
Oh, she
Olive.
said she wants to be on the camera. She said the ring light's here.
I know. I know. Oh my God. Well, that's because I was
Uh-huh.
filming. I know the ring light's facing my bed. It looks so creepy.
What's going on?
Oh
Don't
my
tell
God.
us what you're
Ellen, what are you
working on.
doing? Yeah, don't tell us what you do, Ellen. Okay, how about that? How about I sign up for my OnlyFans, you
Oh
know?
man.
I don't have one.
Or that's what she wants
Oh
you to
my
think.
gosh. Did I tell you this on the podcast? I don't know if I told
What?
you this on the podcast, but this is funny for like the audience. And then we'll get into stuff we're working on. I the audience. My anchors. Hi.
For now, okay. Shoot.
For now.
And
And Naya.
Naya's here.
So I was like, messaging on the dating apps and unless they're gonna pay me to mention them, I'm not saying who it is.
Uh-huh.
And I was talking to this guy and he was just like, oh, like what are you up to? I was like, oh, I'm just like really busy. I've got a lot on my plate right now. I'm like editing a lot of different
Yeah.
things and like something about work. Oh, like what do you do for work? And so I mentioned editing, whatever, a lot of content. And he was just like, oh, editing, like, you got an OnlyFans,
Right,
like I
right.
respect the hustle or whatever. I was just like a little bit flattered that someone thought I would have an
Yeah.
OnlyFans, that I was like,
Oh,
oh, that's so okay.
you're
Thanks.
right.
Like, I don't, but should I?
But hold on. Let me
Well, hold on a second.
right.
What kind of
Right, because
OnlyFans?
there's a
What kind of
bunch.
what kind of pictures or like what kind of like content would people want from
Yes.
me? Do you want just like me and Olive walking on
Oh.
the beach? I was just thinking this morning as I was going for my walk with Olive,
Yeah.
like literally as I was getting ready to go, just thinking about like how I can have like more business coming in, like what I could be doing more. I have a lot more. I'm finishing recording. That's what the camera pointing at my bed is
Sure.
for. I'm doing like a sleep.
Oh yeah.
Sure it is. I'm doing like a sleep, like a mouth tape sleeping
Okay.
company
Yeah.
ads. And they've actually come back to me like 3 times now,
I
and it's
remember
been like
because you
growing
said
over like
you've done that
each,
before. Yeah.
yeah, like each deal is getting bigger, which is really great, and like makes me like just it just gives me great confidence. And
Right.
so I was thinking this morning, like, you know, how am I going to get more clients like this?
Mm.
How am I going to have like a roster of brands and people I work with that I can like kind of guarantee that I have this money
Yeah.
coming in? And as I was thinking about that this morning, I was putting on my manifestation and affirmation podcast that I listen
Okay.
to when I walk
Mhm.
Olive. Um, and as I was doing that, I got a text from my friend. Literally, as I was walking like to the street, I got a text from my friend,
Wow.
and he was like, "Hey, like, got this lead, blah blah
Yeah.
blah."
Yeah. We'll see.
And that's what it's like, a quick turnaround. So that's what's been dragging my attention
Yeah.
away. But like, I think it just like, I feel like we've been talking a lot about just like settling into like what's for you is for
Mhm.
you. You know, you do the work, you hustle in silence or
Yeah.
whatever. And, you know, as long as you're like doing the work, I think that's something both of us were like, when we were not doing the work, we're like, yeah, someone's just going to
Yes.
discover us, like in the naivety of
Exactly.
that. But now we're like
Yeah.
hustling and doing the work, and like, you know, things start to happen, things start to percolate, opportunity starts to come your
Yeah.
way. Like, and also you're ready for that
Yes.
opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've got the setup, I've got the sound, I can
I'm
record
ready.
stuff and take care of
Yeah.
it. You know, it's not like I'm like, "Oh, I don't have what I need to
Right.
handle." So I'm like, no, yeah, like it's an easy yes that I can do this
Yeah.
job,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. That's so good.
So yeah, so that's yeah, it's been like, you know, like the fact that I had the client last week come back of like, yeah, we want to record more with you. We want to turn it around
Mhm.
faster. I sent them a budget that I thought like maybe they would say no
Yeah.
to. And they were like, yeah, that's no problem. Okay, keep it moving. I was like, damn,
I
should have
probably
asked for
should have asked for
more.
more. Exactly.
You know, and then like the fact that like this deal, like my friend was basically like, you know, just like offered my name up,
Right.
and I was able to kind of like go in and
And
just,
follow
you know, say
through.
what I wanted and follow. And yeah, it was just like just things are coming together, and I think it's like good to talk about like
Yes.
things are
Yeah.
working, you know?
Yep.
We're finding success in what we do. So I wanted to see if there was anything that like you wanted to share or could
Mhm.
share or anything of that nature of like things working in any way that they are.
Well, honestly, the thing that I was telling you about last week is still underway. So, but
Okay.
I think it's so important to share wins and to share how you see
Mhm.
things coming to fruition. And I've seen like so many signs, you know what I mean? And so that's exactly what you just said. Like, you were thinking about how can you have more business coming in? How can you have more leads and all this type of stuff? And then lo and behold, you get the call or whatever,
Mhm.
right? Um, and honestly, there's been a lot of that. And I think leading up to me leaving work, there was a ton of
Mhm.
it because it was just, I think it was God's way of telling me, like, girl, you're just blocking all these
It's
things.
time.
Exactly. And so now, here I am, doing all the work behind the scenes. And this month has really been like a behind the scenes month for me, where I've just been
Yeah.
really working on all the stuff for my brand, which I've been wanting to do for
Okay.
so long. And I want to say the past 6 days, not yet a week, but almost, has been such a grind for me,
Okay. Okay.
and just really working like recording and writing and all these different things. And we've gotten some really great content, music, videos, like all that type of stuff, photos, all that type of stuff, which has been really cool. So I'm just building, and I'm happy to hear that the things that you're putting out and the things that you want to come forth are indeed, coming forth, and that's important to see.
I'm like inspired to do like a building focused period
Mhm.
because I think that like things working and coming through is giving me confidence to like put myself out there more
Yeah, yeah.
and like really go after what it is that I want and like proactively reach out to the like types of brands and clients I want to work
Yeah.
with. So like doing that, like the groundwork, building the brand, like building things in the right
Mhm.
way. I think I want to like go into a period of like building out, like you said you're doing for your TikTok. Like I
Mhm.
want to build out more of a social calendar for my TikTok so it's more
Yeah.
organized. And I want to build out more of the like business side of more the business side of things
Okay.
so that like next year I'm not like, wait, how did I go about this? And like, how am
Mm.
I doing this for my taxes? And
Yeah,
da da da.
like
Like, I kind
setting
of want to
systems in place.
get that. Yeah, I want to get that in place now
Mhm.
because I don't want to be surprised about like how much I owe in taxes and like all of that
Right.
jazz. So I want to like take the time that is
Mhm.
necessary to organize that for myself so that I'm not just like a frazzled mess when it comes time to have to be like, oh, what taxes? What did you
Yeah.
make? What money are you making?
Right,
Like
right.
crazy.
That's so important too. Like that's a huge part of entrepreneurial stuff, in the journey. Like
Yeah.
I've found, especially in this time, I'm just let's just call this my behind the scenes, my BTS month. Um, I
Mhm.
feel like I've done a lot to set up systems in place to keep myself organized and ready so that I can turn things around
Mhm.
really quickly. Like my contracts and stuff like that. That takes me like 10 minutes because I spent hours
Okay.
in the beginning creating a template and realizing like, okay, well,
Mm.
these are the things that would probably change, on a gig to gig, show to show, festival, basis, and creating like different types of templates too, right? Like, it took me a long
Mm.
time to come up with that. But now that I have that, I can turn things around like super quick. So that's one example. But
Mm.
um in that same regard, like it's just so important to be organized and to have, especially because we're
Yeah.
solopreneurs for now, like you want to
Mhm.
be able to turn things around quickly and you want to be able to not be a frazzled mess on certain things. And of course, we're going to go through like, the growing stages where it's just like, okay, well, I had no idea. And now I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's super important. And I'm getting that in place now for social media just because of the way that I know I work. Like I'm not
Mm.
naturally a social media person. And but I'm making it work for me because I know it's been an asset to me even with the little that I've used it. So I'm just like, okay, well, how much more of an asset could it be if I actually devoted some time, to building it, nurturing it, and
Mhm.
really leveraging it as a tool, for my business. So that's where I am
Yeah.
now. And, you can really see like the fruits of those things.
It's kind of crazy. I feel like I also get like apprehensive to be like, oh, this is working.
Mm-hmm.
Like things are, it's like working. And I don't want anyone to be like, I don't know. I get like anxious about like, it's working. Like I was on the phone with a
Mm-hmm.
friend and we were talking about like Sunday
Mm-hmm.
scaries and, just kind of like empathizing with her and like what she's going through. And I know that feeling well, I've dealt with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not where I want to be,
Right.
from a financial standpoint with my business, but I know I'm not feeling that
Yeah.
anymore.
So that's a
And I
win.
feel really proud of that. And it's a big
Yes,
win,
it is.
and I'm also, but I kind of like deal with the balance of like, okay, well, but I'm not making the money I used to be making. So it's like, well, you're not stressed because like you're not doing anything. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And I'm just like, okay, well, that's not true
Right.
either. Like
Exactly.
I was filming all day yesterday,
Yeah.
well, not all day,
But you're
but that's
doing
also the
your
thing
work.
is like, yeah, doing my work, but it's also like when you enjoy it and it's something that you want to be
Mm-hmm.
doing, like even though like, yeah, I don't know, it was just like, yeah, I had a full day yesterday. I had to like get stuff done for client. Like it was a working
Yeah.
day, it wasn't like I had to put makeup on, I had to look right in front of the camera, I had to dress that, I had to do the
Yeah.
thing. But it's still in my mind, I'm like, well, no, it's not even like that much. And I was
What is
like,
this?
and I'm like making, and that made good money.
Yeah.
It makes me good money. And I'm like, I don't know. I just this felt bad being like, yeah, no, I can't relate to Sunday scaries anymore.
Well, that's your truth now.
Yeah.
Like, and I've noticed this when I'm like talking to people, and I don't, because I in no way want to ever make someone feel like they need to do what I did or whatever. But I'm
Yep.
always encouraging people to like really assess, like truly assess
Mm.
where you are, how you feel, and all of that. And
Mhm.
then I'm a solution finder. I just want to find solutions. That's how I am.
Yeah.
So it's like if we're talking and we are always talking and you are always in this position about, feeling X about Y, then you need
Yeah.
to assess that and change it, because otherwise, are we just venting to vent and we know we're not going to do anything about it, or are we going to do something about it? And I think that's where we were a year, almost 2
Yeah.
years ago. You know what it was? It was just
Yeah.
like, all right, this is no longer it. I'm no longer willing to
Mhm.
sacrifice or compromise or whatever. How can I totally, change or, pivot? And
Yeah.
it's just, yeah,
100%.
and I'm excited now, and we've been talking about this, like, it's important for us to be around and talk to even more people who are in our position
Mhm.
today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a unique position,
Mhm.
being creative and being an entrepreneur. Like, sure, it looks like, I think when people are on social media, it looks like everybody is like living some type of like crazy life or whatever, or they're having their own business.
Mhm.
But at least in my vicinity, no, it's not. If they are, it's just for social, you know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
they're not actually, you know, an entrepreneur 100% or something, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just a different type of
That's a
truth.
big thing for me, I feel
Yeah.
like. I feel like something I've been like really learning about is like authenticity is so crucial to
Hmm.
me, and like part of like my value system of like I'm not going to do something
Yeah.
performative, and I don't want to, I don't know, I want to like live in truth and honesty,
Yeah.
right? And so I feel like with a lot of what goes on online and with a lot of the way that like people even like, I don't know, they like what people share, what they don't share, what people choose to commiserate over, like or connect over really, which is like commiserating over they don't like their job or whatever, and
Yeah.
I'm like choosing to live differently, or choosing that, like, I'm like I don't want to be commiserating over my job with people
Right.
anymore. Like I don't want to do
Mm-mm.
that. I want to like my day to
Yeah.
day. I want to enjoy my life. I don't want to live, I kept saying this the whole time I was like working. I'm like I'm living in the
Hmm.
margins. I'm like I'm giving the best hours of my life to this job, and I'm not like living my life. I'm not traveling. Like I think about I was making great money, but I was not even
Yeah.
traveling. I'm like I was making all this money and I wasn't going to Europe all the
Yeah.
time, or I wasn't going to like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I never went to Japan. I never went to like all these places I wanted to go and experience when I had the disposable
Hmm.
income. And like now I'm like more excited about the opportunity to travel, because when I do it, I'll have gotten there the way that I want to get
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
versus like, oh, I've got to go. Oh, I've got to, oh, I want to plan this trip. Oh, how am I going to leave the job? How am I going to go on
Right.
vacation? Oh, like I remember I went to
Hmm.
Mexico and I was working on on the trip with my girlfriends, and I was working because it would have been
Blasphemy.
too much to turn over the project, because the project was launching, because the launch got
Uh-huh.
pushed. Because obviously I would never have planned a vacation on a launch of like a
Yeah.
program I was working on. And
Oof.
I literally was like on my laptop working, working,
Oh
working
no,
from the
girl.
resort in Mexico, because it had to
A
be done.
mess.
And I'm like, what?
Mm-mm.
I'm like, what? What? And I've slowly like moved away from
Yeah.
that, right? I like slowly, even at refinery, like I got much better about like, no, you can't catch
No.
me on Slack after hours. Like, I'm so
Exactly.
sorry.
I'm so
Like,
sorry.
yeah, I might see your Slack, but
I'm
I'm
not
not going to answer
responding.
it.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to engage in that
Mm-hmm.
behavior. People emailing into the night, slacking into the night, first thing they do in the morning, 6 a.m. Like, I'm not going to meet you where you are with
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
I will do what I do, and I will do what needs to be done for my job. And I slowly started to move away from like the 110% that I
Yeah.
gave to like
Right.
100, 90,
Mm-hmm.
80, because everyone else around me was giving 50% or
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple people that were giving like 150, and like that was their
Their
job was their
life.
life. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, I'm not doing I can't do this, and I'm like such like a follow the rules
Yeah.
and like, get an A plus, like try really hard, like make, get a good grade, like da, da, da. So it's really hard to like pull back a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, now that I've like jumped ship
Mhm.
on that lifestyle, I'm just like, oh, I can't believe
Oh.
it took me so long. I'm so upset.
Yeah.
I'm so upset that it took me so long. Now I'm so upset. I'm sad that it took me this long.
Mhm.
I'm glad I am where I am. And obviously, things happen in the timeline they're supposed to
Right.
happen in. But there are times that I think about, like, I wish I did this sooner, or like, I wish I
Mm.
never stopped doing my show. Like, there's just like little things that I wish were different, or I wish I did them
Mhm.
differently. And I think now, if anything, I can walk away from that knowing that, like, what I feel, which isn't necessarily regret, just a sadness that things happened in that
Mhm.
way, that I think I won't let those types of things happen again.
Oh, okay.
Do you
Yeah.
know? Because I think the experience and the feeling of the sadness of like, wow, if I had just kept going with Ellen with a Y,
Mhm.
like who knows where I could be
Yeah.
today? That I think is something that is like, okay, so then when the next thing happens that like you think you should pause, or you think you should take a break, or you think you should like stop or whatever, just be like, just look at how you feel about how that break was with Ellen with a Y and how it was nearly impossible to go back
Right.
to,
Right. Exactly.
and instead, why don't you like do this differently? Just don't stop doing the thing.
Yes.
Do it differently, figure out a way to make it, create like gaps if you need to take a break or whatever, but like
Don't stop.
don't don't
Yeah.
stop, because it's really hard to pick something back up like
True.
that. Like I literally keep getting these feelings of like wanting to interview someone, which is I know this is like so insane,
I just have this
but like it's
urge
different.
to
Like
interview
no,
somebody.
because it's like you want to learn about something, or
Yeah.
like there's something interesting happening, and I'm like, I don't have that outlet
Mm.
to DM someone and be like, "Hey,
Would
I
love
host
to
this
learn
show.
more
It's this,
about.
this, this.
Mhm.
I would love to have you on so I can ask you questions and learn more about blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah." Like it's happened now a couple times in the last month. I forget who it was this morning that I just saw on social media, and I was like, "Damn, I wish I could like interview this
Yeah.
person so I could learn
Well, what
more about
about
this."
okay, if Ellen was with a Y was something cuz we've been talking about this.
Mm,
Maybe you don't want to do it as you did it before, but you have like series on your page now. Maybe you have like a
yeah.
series or something where you do something like that with interviewing someone, a 5 quick roundup of questions that are like super important and it's only, however long. Maybe you do something like that.
Yeah.
You figure out a
Like
way.
inch my way
Yeah,
back in.
either inch your way back in or just create something totally new. Like it's Ellen with a Y 2.0. You know what I mean? It's no
Yeah.
longer what it was in that, it was live and whatever, but whatever aspects you want to make it, you can do that, you know?
Yeah, so that's the thing, is like it is really hard to get
Yeah.
going. And bringing back Ellen with a Y, it's like, okay, how do I want to go about it? And then I think yeah, there's just like an apprehension, and like I was saying, I'm like I do have a hard time going back and watching those
Hmm.
episodes. Like I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't feel the way I feel, which is just like that. Like I don't know where that comes from, because that's what I get. Like I see it and I'm just like, "Ooh, scroll away." Like I don't want to look at that.
Mm,
And it makes me, I don't know if I'm just like sad or maybe ashamed that I stopped doing it. Like
mm.
I'm not really
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
what the feeling is, but I know I do need to move past it so that I can start doing it again,
Yeah.
you
Because
know? And I think that like it wouldn't be a bad thing to start.
no, to me, it seems like when we talk, and this could be for the podcast or not, but it seems like to me, whenever we talk about Ellen with a Y, there's like something in you that's just like, it seems like you feel pulled to it. And
Mm,
I'm not sure what it is that's like keeping you back. Cause to me, I'm just like, girl, you could do it. I mean, you're
yeah.
doing all this other stuff that is directly related with all the content and stuff that
Mm,
you do. And it's just like, especially now, you can like totally devote to it, make it even better. Like, let's go, you know?
yeah.
Um, so just on the
I don't know,
outside
maybe I'm
looking in, I'm just
afraid.
like, 1, 2, 3, go. Let's go.
Yeah, just start doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I think I'm afraid like I'll stop doing it again,
Mm, because it's a heavy
but
lift. Maybe you don't do it so often.
I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's a heavy lift, or I don't know, maybe because it just feels like if I start doing it again, it's like a very public thing. I think I've been kind of like we said, like moving pretty quiet
Yeah.
and doing things that I'm doing. And I'm like, I just like started posting on social media again out of nowhere. Everyone's probably just like, what
What do
the,
you mean?
who's the star? What? Or like, you're posting food recipes now? Like what's going
Ah,
on? I didn't really like make like I'm coming back to the internet because I really took like a very significant like pause, I
after
would
Ellen with the
say, on
Y?
like, yeah,
Okay, I
in
got you.
between like I moved to LA and like
Didn't
half people
know.
didn't even realize I
Mm-hmm.
moved. Yeah. You're like, wait, you're in LA now? Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the first like year I was here, people were constantly like, wait, you moved to LA? I'm like, yeah, I didn't really do a big goodbye
Yeah.
from New York,
Right,
or
right, right. But
I
you
don't
don't,
know.
and
Like
you
I
don't
said,
have
I
to
just kind
tell
of like
them.
move in
That's
silence.
it. You move in silence and you do what your heart desires in the time that you need to do it. You know what I mean? So,
Mm,
and I think what I like that people do sometimes is those like main burning questions that people have for whoever it is that they follow, they address it. If it's like in your highlight reel or something, it's like 5 questions about me. Yes, I moved from New York to LA. Yes, I have a dog. I am a full-time creator, content creator. Da, da, da. Like those are the things. Now we got that off out of the way. This is what I'm doing now. Every Tuesday or every other
yeah.
week or every month I do a Ellyn with the Y episode where I bring in a so and so person or whatever, and you don't have to go through that.
Yeah.
And even with your Ellyn with the Y stuff, you were budding there, and it was great, and you had a great audience and all of that. But it's not going to touch how many people you're going to touch. You know what I mean? And reach.
Mm,
So it's not.
yeah.
I hope you're not thinking in your mind like you have to explain to people why you stopped. You could touch on it and just be like, in the past I did this or whatever. And if you wanted to in some episode, for the
Yeah.
1,000 people or
I'll
whatever who you had before, you could, but you don't have to. You just do
Yeah,
what's for
you're
you.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
I know. It's just like, I don't know. It was my 80th episode was my last
Yeah.
episode. It was like I introduced Olive to the podcast,
Oh,
to the
yeah.
show. That was the episode. It was like I had just gotten
Mm-hmm.
her. And I was just like, I don't know, I was dealing with a lot. I was really overwhelmed. I think it was in my darkest in terms of like my
Yeah.
depression and my
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. It was right before I went on my like
Mm.
leave from refinery. So it was just like that was like a
The
rough
end of it
time.
was a
And
weird
I think,
time for you.
I don't know, maybe I
Yeah.
just really, yeah, I just don't like feel like I don't want to like revisit that maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
it's worth it because I guess I really am pulled towards it because I keep bringing it up
Yeah.
and I keep
You
thinking
love
about
it.
it and I keep talking about it and I loved it. I
Yeah.
said that in therapy when I was doing it. I was like, I never feel more present, like present in my body, present in the moment than when I'm doing that show,
Yeah. And
you
something
know?
else about Ellyn with a Y, which I think is it's so reminiscent of you because when we talk about like what one of your like ultimate dreams is, it's basically Ellyn with a Y. You're just like,
Mm,
I could do Ellen DeGeneres' show, or I could do Jimmy Kimmel or
yeah.
somebody else's. Like that was
Yeah.
literally your show. Like you were producing what you wanted to see in your life. Like you
Mhm.
literally had that. You had your segments. It was all together. And now I just am seeing how extraordinary it could be. Because I'm like, well, girl, now you
Yeah.
have everything at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Like this is everything.
I
You're in
know.
LA. You got like, come on. So
Mhm.
I just am excited for
I don't
what
have to
you
do it on Instagram
you
live
don't have to do it
anymore.
on Instagram Live. You could have your own, you could get your own like Issa Rae thing going. Like she made her shows on YouTube until she was making them on HBO. You know?
Yeah, literally.
Literally. And you have
Yeah.
the full time to like dedicate to it and really, and you can make it. I just I don't want you to think you have to like answer to anybody. I really,
Yeah.
and or do anything like you used to. You can literally do whatever.
Oh my gosh, it's like therapy. Hey everyone, this is a therapy episode. We went
And
from we're booking business to like Ellen needs to really unpack. Oh my god, that's such an Ellen with a Y phrase too. Really need to unpack how I
unpack.
feel about my show.
Mhm.
It's like Ellyn with a May.
Ellyn with
Oh,
we
wait,
had
here
a
we go.
theme song.
And yep. And then now it's a nothing.
What do you mean now it's a nothing?
And now that deal is not happening.
No? Okay.
This is why, okay, this is why all in the period of this podcast, you saw we came in, I was like, I got to check my email. It's going to be like, something's happening.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, it's happening. That's exciting. And then it's, okay, it's not
Yeah.
happening. That's why nobody like talks about the stuff that's happened.
That's
Like, I feel
in
like online, it's
process.
like, oh, there's some that's in process because it all just like, it all falls through. It all could fall
Yeah.
through. It all could happen, could not happen
Mhm.
until it's actually even live on that. I just will never like,
Mhm.
you it just wouldn't, it won't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it just,
Right. But and that's the
ay,
part.
ay, ay, oh well.
That's okay because
People
you
are watching
know
this real time. Real time, you just watch someone go from like, something could
something's
happen,
happening.
it's happening, excitement,
Right.
to nothing's happening
Right,
anymore
right.
in the span of less than an
Yeah.
hour. This is so
This
real.
is real.
This is the
And
realest.
that's
Yeah.
how things go. And people can relate to that.
Yep.
Like that happens all the time in life. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but I think the cool thing about that though is that you see what a client of that like caliber, size, whatever would go for. And now you can set,
Yeah.
you know, set your stuff for those other like dream collaborators or ambassadorships. And stuff.
Exactly. Get some. Yeah, they didn't even blink at the rate. So
No,
I was like,
exactly.
okay.
And they wouldn't because they would just like, come on. No, they wouldn't.
Okay, cool. That works for us.
It's like, oh, all right, great.
I'm like,
Changed my
okay, cool.
life.
Sorry, I should have
Yeah.
doubled it. Sorry, I sent the wrong
Yeah.
number. Sorry, I should have been double that. So sorry.
It actually should have been double.
Oh, sorry. So I pressed send too soon. I pressed send too soon.
Sent
There's
you
be
the wrong
another
template.
zero. Sorry.
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 Oh man.
Oh my god. But it's fine because I still have the thing I'm filming right now,
Yeah.
yesterday and today, and that's going to bring in money and a deal, and I'm excited about
Right.
that. And that is something that's really happening. So
Yeah.
that's good. And also, I just freed up because this would have been a rush order. I just freed up my time to do what we were just saying. It's just like creating more of a schedule for my social and really perhaps figuring out, okay, if I was going to do Ellyn with a Y, what would that look like? And how do I make that like a sustainable opportunity, a sustainable project for myself?
I love that. Let's see what's sustainable. And
maybe it's creating space for that instead.
Seriously. I was reading something. Oh, no. It was in my Bible plan because I'm reading the Bible in a year. And one of the scriptures or one of the days that we kind of like debriefed or whatever, she was like, it's so amazing to know that even God's no is like our best. Like that's in our best interest. You know what I mean? And what you just said is like such a testament because it's just like, yeah, okay, well, there was a no to that, but it's making room for what you actually want and what maybe,
Yeah.
So I always try to keep that in mind because sometimes we get so like, oh, I really want this. I really want this to happen. And even like the things that I'm working on right now, where I'm just like, I really want this. And I'm just like, okay, if it doesn't come through, then that's for the best. And then I can just keep on pushing towards what I've been, pushing towards or whatever. And it doesn't mean that doing this thing totally negates this thing. You know what I mean? But it's just, so it's like keeping everything into perspective and realizing, doors and opportunities come as they're supposed to. And I think that's such a lesson for new entrepreneurs like ourselves.
What's for you is for you, right? And so what's for someone else could have never been for you. And what doesn't come for you wasn't meant for you anyway.
Right.
And I think if you kind of like sit with that, and I definitely was feeling that so much more back when I was doing Ellyn Fly. Like I definitely was like living in that. And I think I'm like starting to kind of come back around to that way of thinking of like, not that I didn't ever think that, but just having it be more forefront in my brain of like, what's for you is for you. This wasn't for you, but it does open up time in your calendar to do other things.
Right. That's so good. It is something you really have to kind of sit with and not let it like gloss
Yeah.
over your head, because then you'll just,
Yep.
you really have to be like, okay, let me
That's what I
internalize
mean. Like
that.
sometimes like a state of mind, like you really have to like be like actively checking thoughts and
Mm-hmm.
ideas, because your brain can really start to loop on some things. You're like, wait, I don't actually feel that. Or like, wait, that's like not helpful. That's
Yeah.
not helping me get where I need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's like, it's like an idea that I used to like think on a lot. Like what's for me is for me. I'm just going to keep doing me, because what's going to come my way is like what I'm meant to
Yeah.
have and what's supposed to happen in my life. But I haven't like thought about that in so
Mm-hmm.
long that I'm like, oh, okay, wait a second. Like, let's turn that thought back on. Let's have
Yes.
that thought be more in the forefront,
Yeah.
because I'm now like putting myself out there. Opportunities come, opportunities don't come. And it's like, okay, well, what's for you is for
Mm-hmm.
you. And like maybe this opportunity didn't work out, but maybe this client would think of me for something else. And maybe that becomes like really for me,
Right. Exactly.
you
We can
know?
never predict how it'll all come
Like,
to
oh,
fruition.
she's so great. Maybe we'll have her come in and like host events for us. I'm like, oh my God, that's so
That's for
for me.
me.
I want that more than I want this. So it's like, oh my
Exactly.
God,
Right.
maybe that's what's being opened up for me.
Right.
So
And you
I
wouldn't know
I
it
think it's like
until later.
it-
Hindsight.
exactly. You won't know it until hindsight. So
Yeah.
it's like just gotta really check the like mental ideas and processes or whatever it is, but just like the
Yes.
thoughts that are you're letting take up space, and maybe bring in some thoughts that were like
That are
good, or
fruitful.
from a time that was like, yeah,
Yes.
exactly, that are
That's
fruitful.
right.
I like that
And I
phrase,
would love for
fruitful.
us to talk about that more in depth on another episode, like mindset, and the mindset shift,
Mm,
because that is so key. A major
I'm
key.
writing it down.
DJ Khaled.
Major key alert. Do you remember that? Do you
Major
remember that?
key. What? Girl, yes, I remember. I still
Major
say it.
key.
It's a major key.
Mindset
Hmm.
podcast
Um,
next week.
yeah.
Okay. I wrote it down.
Cool. That's how we know it's
What did
real.
I say? That's how we know it's real. It's been written down in the notebook,
Okay.
okay? This is a notebook. It says write it down and let it go. We're not
We're
letting it
not
go.
letting it. We're letting it go out into
It's
the
a
world.
worry. Yeah, we're doing it in the world. It's a worry relief journal, but I really just
Made
I
it a
use it for all
notebook.
things,
Okay.
journaling, and I made it into a notebook. I made it into like a things to do. It's everything.
Huh.
But what I really like about it is that sometimes there's quotes on the
Oh, I
page that
love
are
that.
really helpful. Like Maya
Hmm.
Angelou, nothing can dim the light that shines from within.
Hmm.
Or let's see another page. And then there's some that are like more tasks where it's like create a strengths list. I,
Mm.
I swear I don't have a list, but I have
I don't have a
like
list.
I don't have a list, but I have an ISP.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
I have like a little something, because I literally cannot say this. I'm trying to say it. It's like really hard.
Okay.
Create a strengths list.
Okay. Well, create a strengths list. I mean, you have
Is
to.
that hard for you? Is that no, genuinely, is that hard for your mouth to
It's
do?
it's not.
It's like genuinely hard for my mouth to
You like?
form
Is
that
that hard?
phrase. Is that
Create a
hard for you? No, it's
strengths
not hard.
list. No.
Create a strengths list. I like have to think about it. I'll have to ask my mom if I was ever in like a
Speech
speech
impediment.
therapy class.
Right. Yeah.
I genuinely sometimes I'm like, I have a speech impediment.
Oh, but you said it. I mean, it took you a little while, but it's okay.
I have an invisible disability. It's like an
Oh
impediment.
gosh.
What? Create a strengths list.
Ellyn,
Oh,
I
there's so many
can't.
consonants back to back.
GTH.
Yeah, it's too many. NGTHS. Like,
That's
what the heck are we
crazy.
doing
Right,
here?
right.
That's too many consonants.
We need a vowel in there.
Yeah, for real. Like, like Arabic has like a lot of consonants, like all in like a one
Huh,
word, right?
yeah.
It's a very very different
True. I never noticed
word structure, lettering structure than like the English
Yeah.
language. And my sister was teaching Lincoln like 1 through 10 in like a million languages, and Arabic was one of them. And I was like, how do you even say that? Like, she was like teaching
Yeah.
me, and I'm looking at all these consonants, and I'm just like,
that.
you need more
Yikes.
vowels. We need more vowels.
We need to be more.
You got to have more vowels. There's one vowel in the word strengths.
That's wild.
Strengths.
Strengths.
I guess I can't say strengths and then say list.
Strengths
It's like the
list.
strengths list. It's too much. I'm getting tongue tied.
List.
Wow. Okay, basically what it is list 3 of your personal strengths you are thankful for.
Okay.
And write down how you are going to use them more often. So I don't do that, but
but that's nice that it's there. I wanted.
But that's nice that it's there, right? I like this book. It's really, there's nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed.
And bleed?
Ernest Hemingway. Come on.
Okay.
Please, too much. Like, there's just like little, I don't know. It's a really nice like book. Yeah. A lot of little good quotes.
I love a book with quotes on every page.
In order to carry a positive action, we must develop here a positive vision. That's what we're saying,
That's
right?
That's exactly what we're saying.
The Dalai Lama.
Vision.
That's what we're saying. So everyone have a vision going into the following week after this podcast. And next week, we're going to talk about mindset. I think that's a really, really good topic for us to talk about, especially when you're solopreneurs doing our thing by ourselves and you're in your own mind quite a bit. It's important to set the mind in the right direction. So that'll be a really good podcast.
Yes, I think so. And we always want to give value.
I like it. We are a value add podcast,
right.
okay?
Shoot.
All right.
Always walk away with something.
We are additive to your life. That's why you subscribe and follow and rate us 5 stars.
Yes. And you share.
And comment.
Remember that?
Subliminal messaging.
That's why you like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. I love how we always do that at the end. We're just like share, subscribe.
You know.
We're doing like ASMR. Like, share, subscribe. From 2 people who don't love ASMR.
Oh my gosh. Really pronounce those consonants.
Oh my Chris. ASMR.
Ellyn's going to find out from her mom, and she'll report back next week.
Yeah, what if I like blocked it out? What if it was like a traumatic experience?
And don't go
I'm gonna
there.
call her right now. I'm gonna call her and be like, "Hey, did I ever have like an actual list? Something that we should like
an extra
I should know about
that I had? That maybe not everybody else had? And we thank God for him or her. Oh my God, if there was. So
yeah, right. We thank you because look at me now, just a chatty Kathy, right?
Kathy. Legit.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the podcast this week. Yes. You can follow me at Ellyn with a Y on all social media platforms. Aja.
You can follow me at Aja Moye Music. That's AJAMOYE Music on IG, TikTok, and Facebook.
TikTok.
Thank you guys.
I love it. I can't wait to see your content on there.
Gosh.
And you can follow us at the Regents Podcast on Instagram and TikTok, and be sure to rate us 5 stars in the Apple App Store, on Spotify, and follow and like and subscribe and all the details on YouTube.
That's right.
That's Olive.
I was
over there shaking it up. Did you hear her shaking it?
I did.
She's staring at me. Thank you all so much for listening or watching, and we will see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye. The Regents Podcast. The Regents Podcast.